Hi, I'm Mandy Feely Swain, and this is another episode of Origination Boost podcast. And today, my guest is my friend Jonathan Steele. How are you today?
I'm good. Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, first, let's talk about a little bit about you and kind of your journey into becoming a loan officer because I think this is going on your second or third year. So, let's talk about that first.
Yeah, I've been at PMR for 2 years, but 6 years in the business altogether. I spent the first four as a loan officer assistant for a bunch of LOs and throughout Florida. And things slowed down in 24, and the loan officers that I was working with were like, I don't need an assistant anymore. And so it's like, all right, well, I'm ready to go get my own business. So when Paul Abraham gave me a shot from this Facebook group, and the kind of the rest is history. But that's not where it started, because I actually grew up in the business. My dad's been a loan officer for 30 some odd years, so my entire life has been mortgages.
You are my kids. My kids, I teased that Allie grew up and, was like the first member on my team in her car seat. So you've been around the mortgage space your whole life, similar to my kids. And so your dad must have done something right. The fact that you thought this was a good business to be in, he must have made it seem like it was a good opportunity for your family and a good leader in your life that way.
Yeah, I mean, it was just me and my brother. My parents split up when I was in third or fourth grade. But my dad was at every event. We went on the vacations, we did all the things, and he has computer and his phone with him, but he was part of our lives everywhere. So that was one of the things that I have four kids now. When I got in, my third had just been born. I was teaching, and my wife wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, all right, COVID just started. So it was like, we need to do something else. I hated the Zoom teaching. It was
Yeah.
awful. It was so rough. And my dad's like, you would be really good at this. And everybody's hiring right now. And so it's a good time to get like your foot in the door.
Yeah.
And that's how that started. And I never thought, I mean, nobody really, I think even growing up, and it was like, yeah, this is what I want to do when I grow up. So it's accidental, but not accidental. I mean,
So your first adulting career really, for all intents purposes, was teaching. What grade did you
yep,
teach?
third and fourth grade.
Yeah, then you're fine for the mortgage business. You can handle all the kind of things that come up because third and fourth grade, actually third and fourth grade, I substitute taught when I was like 19, kindergarten through fifth grade for PE. And the third and fourth graders, I think were the easiest out of all of them,
Yeah.
so
My oldest two are third and fourth grade right now. So it's funny looking at them and be like, man, I taught you like
yeah,
6 years ago.
that's
Uh,
crazy.
but I got you. They're like at the age where they're really smart and they're learning things and love it, but they haven't quite got the I know more than you phase. The fourth grade
Absolutely.
is like
Yes.
where I was gonna be topped out at, because fifth
That's
graders can be little punks.
I noticed that. I was like, wow, once they get to fifth grade, dear Lord, they've taken your sweet little child and they're moving on to the not preteen quite yet, but they're almost there to where they're
Yeah.
teenagers. So okay,
Well, you ask
so
my 10-year-old, she is a preteen. So
yeah, I bet. Yeah, she probably thinks that. Yeah, I guess that is probably true. Anyways, I digress. So let's
yeah.
talk about you get in the mortgage space. You start as an LOA, and like me, I started in the processing space, and I learned a lot of good habits from a lot of good LOs, and learned a lot of bad habits from bad LOs. Not, and I learned things I didn't want to have in my business, right? And I think as an LOA, you get that perspective, especially if you were working for several LOs. What what were some of the takeaways of the best LOs you saw when you worked in the business?
Organization was the biggest one. Like your processor likes you, your underwriter likes you when you are naming files properly, when you're explaining things. So real clearly. I saw loan officers, and they all the loan officers use me differently. So I had some that were like, I want you to do some of my marketing. I want you to be going in and making flyers and co-branded stuff and reaching out to agents that way. A lot of them were like, I want you to do my busy paperwork so I can go make rain.
Yeah.
Um, but it really trying to figure out how to put a clean file together was so important, because it made everything go smoother. And that's probably the biggest takeaway that I took from all of them was what does it look like to put a good file together? And um, there was a handful of times where things inevitably go wrong, right? I mean, you just have a
Mm-hmm.
file and things start falling apart. And what does it look like to show up when things fall apart? Because I worked with LOs that were really good at it and some that ghosted, and it was like, well, I've got to take this and we've got to roll with it. And we still like it was, I've got some emails saved from things that had happened that were like, man, that was really rough, but I'm glad I was able to step in when someone else panicked because you can't panic in
Yeah.
this business.
Yeah, I think I've seen that too. I've seen the really good originators just pick up the phone, make the call, make the hard calls when things get a little bit pear-shaped on a loan. And then I've also seen it the flip side where they go ghost mode because they get in that panic mode of, well, and they don't like that confrontation, but inevitably somebody has to have that conversation to get the loan to the
Yeah.
finish line. And so you
Yep.
learn that in that time frame when you were being an LOA. So now fast forward, you start 2 years ago, you're like, okay, I'm gonna depend on myself. I'm not gonna have the salary and the backstop of other loan officers. I'm gonna go do it myself. What have you taken with you now into your journey as a loan officer? And let's talk about that because I think it's very brave to do it, especially when people are maybe exiting the market. You're like all in, deep into the pool, gonna do this thing. And so I applaud you for that. Let's talk about that, just that journey in from an LOA position to the LO position and, those habits you took with you that really, really launched you into your business. And then what have you learned in the last couple of years? Let's just, in general, just talk to me.
Yeah. So I mean, communication is one of the biggest things. I mean, I knew that that's what I wanted to do really well. Um, I'm a big proponent of the eat the frog, right? So do the hard things
Yeah.
first. And there's some of those things that I've learned along the way in the last couple of years that I'm like, there's always stuff I need to do better. So being a big student of the business, learning the guidelines, learning what is actually possible. Um, and relying on the team to be able to help when I've got gaps because inevitably there are those gaps. Um,
Yeah.
I've leaned into social media quite a bit as well. So I do a lot of videos, what I feel like a lot of videos.
And I've seen you. You do
And
a great job. And you're consistent. You're really consistent with it. So I applaud you for that.
and that's consistency is hard because I've seen it happen a lot lately where you have people who are like, all right, I'm going to go try this new thing, especially with social media, and it's a video here, a video there, a chat GPT generated post, and it's like, well, that didn't give me any business, so I'm going to stop doing that. But as the consistency happens, you inevitably will grow. And that's where that consistency is starting to lean into other areas of things that I do and how I follow up and all of that. So communication, the consistency, like you said, and just being there, being present has really helped.
Are you going to places and people are like, "Oh, I see you all the time on social media," because that is happening to me, and I don't post near as much as you do. So it's
Yeah.
funny. I get out and they're like, "Man, I see you everywhere." I'm like, "I'm not really everywhere, but that's the perception, I guess."
Was you get a lot of people that like you post a video and it gets a couple hundred views and you think, well, how many times can you really stand in front of 200 people and
Right?
they're actually paying attention to what you're watching? But the biggest thing is, I mean, you watch the videos and it's like, who's watching mortgage content? Like who's really doing that? But agents and partners do watch them. They may not engage, they may not react to give you the heart or say good job or whatever, but I've gotten calls from agents like, hey, I know you've been doing this. I've got this question, or I've got a client for you that fits this bill. I had an agent a handful of weeks ago. I was doing the DSCR series of videos, and he's like, "Hey, funny enough that I'm calling you right now. I just had a DSCR lead, and because of your videos, you were the first person I thought of." And
Awesome. I
that and
love
that's the
that.
kind of stuff that we do with social media. It's things that people want to look to you for knowledge. When you get phone calls from people, I'm sure you get this when you're making the video and they talk to you like they know you, and you've
Yeah.
never talked to them once a day in your life. But that's
Yeah.
because I mean, you especially like so I'll walk up and down my street and my camera's right in my face. I'm not doing the skits or anything, but it's
Yeah.
just me talking and people it I don't know, it probably activates some portion of the brain where it feels like you're actually having that conversation with the person. So it builds the trust and the value with people, and they think, oh, I want to work with that person. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I love it. You're just authentic and approachable, and I think that comes across in your videos. What advice do you have to somebody that wants to get started on videos? Because I think that, well, when you came out of it as a teacher, then you went into LOA, then you said, okay, I'm gonna jump in the deep end of the pool, and no backstop, just me. I
Mhm.
have 4 kids. I mean, talk about that. That is brave and admirable to do, and believe, have that belief in yourself that you can. When you started, was social media going to be part of it always, or did it just evolve into part of it?
It was, 'cause I've been so I've had my license for 5 of the 6 years that I've been in the business. So it wasn't just the 2 years. So I could originate. I just didn't get the opportunities where I was at prior to do that. But I was like, well, I can do some things. I started a YouTube channel, and I will not go back and watch my first video because it was awful. But it was basic. It was things that I knew. I did like a 3-part series of going through the mortgage process from pre-approval and planning all the way to post-closing. And those videos still get views today. And gosh, those are probably 4 years old now.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things that I was learning as I was trying to figure out social media, because it was an easy place for me to go. I didn't feel like I had what I needed to be able to properly prospect, and it wasn't the training for me to actually be a full-time loan officer, though that was my goal. And I could say, well, I'm going to do social media. This is just where I'm going to start. And you start with what you have.
Yeah.
I had my phone. I didn't have a mic. I didn't have a crazy background. I put up some pictures in the back to make it look somewhat presentable. And I'll never forget it, and I use it all the time. But you got to punch fear in the face and press record.
Yeah, I love
You know,
that.
like nobody likes how they look, nobody likes how they sound. So stop worrying about that and just do what you know. And even if it's small, it doesn't have to be some elaborate, high Hollywood production type video. And in a day and age where we use AI so much, people like the uhs, the ums, and the stutters and stuff. Because you're a real person then, and then it can
Yeah.
relate to that. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, I'm with
Like I'm
you.
reading
Don't
your book
watch
right
the
now, and
first
that's
ones. Don't watch the first videos.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good advice. What were you saying?
Um, yeah, I'm working through your book right now, and it's that line of it, done is better than perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that for a perfectionist. That's I'm born in September. I know it about myself, and you can absolutely paralyze yourself by just wanting to be perfect. And especially when it comes to social media, I think that you just need to, like you said, punch fear in the face and press record. Amen, because that is so true. I feel like it's about the reps. The confidence that you gain through doing it comes through the reps. And I tease that my advice is just cut the eraser off. My daughter, when she was in 3rd grade, and you'll appreciate this as a 3rd grade teacher, she was very much a perfectionist. So she'd literally take her eraser and just erase everything she'd already done on the paper, because but by the time she got done, she didn't like how it looked. And so instead of turning in a fully done paper, my daughter's still erasing and going back and doing it again. And so the teacher literally, she goes, if you get a call from your daughter, or she comes home and says, I cut up all her erasers, that's what happened. I cut all her erasers off so that because the work is good enough, but in her mind it wasn't. And I
Yeah.
think that lesson that my 3rd grader learned was valuable to me now when I'm like, when I'm pensive about something, or I don't really want to do something. I'm like, okay, it's time to cut the eraser off and just do and just start. And that's what you did with those videos 4 years ago, right? You just
Yeah.
started, and then, but now when you go to a video, it's pretty easy for you, right?
I mean, it's definitely not perfect. I mean, I
I
I
don't
go
think
up
it's
and
ever
do a
going to be
video.
perfect.
There's so many times where I will go and I'll be making it'll take multiple takes. Most of the video, I get really excited when it takes one take. I'm like, yes, I did it.
Yeah.
But I'll walk up and down my street, one, to help get the nerves off, because doing some other action helps something with the
Yeah.
brain. I'm imagining where it just kind of calms you down or whatever, makes it easier. So I mean, I'll go up and it'll take 20 takes trying to get a video, and then it's like, this is not working for me, and I have to stop. And I'll come back and do it later,
Yeah.
because it ultimately still needs to be done, right? But I mean, and I don't do, if you go watch my videos, there's not a whole lot that's happening. There's not a lot of editing either. Like I'll shorten a couple things, but it's captions, a little highlight up at the top, and then I post it. I try not to think about it too much unless the information's not correct. I want to make sure I'm putting out correct information. And if it's correct, it may look silly. So there was one video I thought was gonna do terrible. I said I needed to get the video done, but it was just getting late in the day. I was out playing some basketball with my son. It was like I have to do this video, and if I go inside, I have to do this, this, and this, so I'm not gonna be able to do it. So I pulled out my phone, took a quick video. And it was hot when we're in Southwest Florida, so I was like sweating. My hair's all it did not look good. That video got some of the most views that I've ever gotten on videos.
Well, that's wild. You're like,
It
okay, it's
was,
hot and I'm here and I'm doing this, but here we go. We're gonna go.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's
Those,
awesome. So during when you first started, how did you ramp up, right? Now you're fairly consistently funding loans, so that takes a little bit of that pressure off. But I think that those folks wanting to make the switch over to becoming a loan officer, you gotta have some gusto, because getting through the first 90 days is probably one of the most difficult, I would say, in that process. Would you
yeah.
agree?
For sure. And there was some of it where I was telling everybody, hey, I'm doing this now. Like this is me. I'm a loan officer. I'm not just an assistant, and trying to get business that way. Um, but so same kind of thing with the videos. I really touched on, or I pushed into social media quite a bit and was posting out to groups and trying to build value through knowledge and what's available out there. So like here at PMR, we have our Home Buyer Ally program, which is a great option for people who need it. But it's also a great talking point, and that talking point led into a realtor relationship that I know we always talk about, like, expect 90 days of no closings. I closed a loan within the first 45 days of starting, which
Awesome.
was huge for me. I mean, you talk about like a confidence and motivation boost. That was like, all right, I can do this.
I can do this. I can stand on my
I
own and
need
do
more
this.
agents now. I need
Yeah.
more partners sending me deals because I know what
Yeah.
I can. And that's where putting a lot of things that I learned as an assistant into practice. Because it's one thing to know it, but it's like, okay, so do I know what I need to do when I get a new lead, when I get these income documents, when I have someone who's self-employed? Do I know what to do, but can I actually do it? And that was one of the things, like, I want to do it right. I don't want to mess up, which, I mean, we all do, but the pressure was on, but it worked out. So
Well, and I think a couple things you hit on there. One is posting in communities on community pages. I know that Modesty, she does a lot of business in Georgia and Idaho, and so she crosses boundaries, right, or geographical areas, and she gets a lot of business because she was in a lot of community groups and offered, knowledge free. And expected nothing really in return. And she got a lot in return. And so you talked about posting in different community pages. Is that what you
yep.
did as well?
Yeah, that's how I started out, posting in groups, some realtor groups, and then I've actually started my own to try to build and grow and be like, look, this is a place where you can come, and I'm gonna try to give you some no nonsense information about what mortgage rates will do this week. Here's a cool product that we have available, or maybe a scenario that you didn't know was possible. It kind of started as something to be for realtors, but it's starting to grow into, I mean, just general, like, people who are wanting
To
information
buy
and knowledge.
and
And
just
ultimately,
curious. Yeah.
the teacher part of me, that's what I want. I want to educate. I want to help people understand what's possible, because there's a lot that's possible.
Well, and you bring up something fascinating, because I was talking to Rob Nino. He's a branch manager out of Hollister, and his daughter just graduated, and we went to her graduation party, and I got an opportunity to speak with Rob's brother Nick, and he just wrote a book, because they don't teach, finance 101, so to speak, how to balance your checkbook, bank statements, how to buy a house. And he just wrote a book about that, and I found it fascinating, because I was processing that for my children that are 17 and 21, and thinking, you're right, in high school they're not taught, or even in college, taught really those type of things. So you're offering a valuable service for just anyone that wants to ask questions, whether it's they own already and they want to talk about home equity line of credit, or they're wanting to buy a home but have misconceptions of what that's like. So I think that that's a great idea, is to have a community, and then the agents that are in your group can help you facilitate if somebody wants to buy something. Is that kind of what
Yep.
you're seeing now?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, this is it's a newer endeavor trying to do the Facebook page myself. So it hasn't seen any fruit yet, but it is like, I mean, I've got people who respond and they're appreciative of things, and then they share like the rate post from my group to their own pages.
Yeah.
And that's where I see some of the value, because then you get the people who are like, oh wow, I saw your video from somebody else that I know, and it makes you look like the area expert.
Well, I love it. It's a strategy, right? And it's all about consistency on a strategy like that. I mean, there's short-term plays in this business that can get you business right away. There's shorter plays, right? And you meet a new agent and they automatically start sending you deals. And within the first 30 days, you're starting to work together. Where there's things like your community page that may take a while to build up, have enough consistency, posting, people seeing those, getting to know you. But I can see in a year or 2 years from now how productive that'll be for your business. And it's just
Yeah.
consistency, right? It's a commitment to, if you're going to start that, you better be pretty committed to it, because it's
Yeah.
a part of your daily grind, right? So let's talk about Premier and just the culture and what you've done. And you've really adopted Origination Boost as part of your kind of mantra of running your business. Let's just talk about how that's helped you, and
Mhm.
culturally, how that's driven your business over the last couple of years.
So to go back, so as a loan officer assistant, I mean, I wasn't going out and getting the business.
Right.
I was reacting to leads that came in, which was great because it helped that side, but I didn't get a whole lot of well, what do I need to do to get business? I mean, I have general ideas, like you need agents, you need a database that knows what you're doing. You need past clients, which I didn't have any.
Yeah.
So, Origination Boost like really helped, because it was like, I mean, I remember when I first started, I'm like, look, if you can get you take this app, this tracking sheet, and you can get 70 tasks done in this thing, like you will be successful. And like you said with the videos, like that in social media, there's no silver bullet to being immediately successful. There's those one-off stories which are awesome, and we all want that, but it takes time and trust to build. And so like making the calls to the database and to agent partners and other referral partners, making sure you're actually following up with your pre-approved people so you're not having stuff fall through the cracks. It's helped me create processes throughout my week to help, I mean, make sure that kind of stuff is happening. So always having it, like I've got it on my desk, we got it on my phone, like making sure, like, okay, have I done this? Did I do this well? Probably not as well as I should have. Okay, well now I need to pivot and do this a different way,
Yeah.
to try to do it. So it's helped. I mean, it's helped me as someone who didn't really know exactly what to do to figure out at least a direction on what I need to be doing.
Well, and I like having a scoreboard, right? If you have a scoreboard, you know where you're at. Because if you're just basing it on loans or referrals, it's really hard when you're getting started to know that you've done the right tasks, right? And for you, that if you're watching this or listening to this, I bet about going on 4 years ago that if loan officers would do 70 tasks that move the needle, 70 tasks, whether it's calling a database, whether, like Jonathan said, new agent referral, calling a client that you'd closed in the past, a TBD approved and looking. And if you're just getting started, start with your phone, start with the people in your social media presence. That's a quick way to boost your business. But I bet on the fact that if loan officers just did 70 needle moving tasks a week, that they would see production come from that, right? And you adopted that, and so I appreciate your trust and faith in that. But I also love it because you're not at a branch location per se, right? You're in your home, and I think sometimes it's harder to stay motivated if you're working from home and you're not going to an office and have another loan officer to banter with, or
Yeah.
would you agree with that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's and that I love PMR, but there are times where like I feel like I'm on an
Alone.
island because
Yeah.
I'm here, but I know there's other loan officers in Florida. I got the opportunity to go up to Biloxi, Mississippi with some of our team members and see people like, oh wow, you don't just exist online or a
Yeah.
phone call or email, right? You actually you have bodies and stuff. Like this is great. I get to meet you and shake your hand and stuff. It was awesome. But there is that, and working from home. So my kids homeschool 2 days a week, and so then having them here is even more distracting at times, and it's easy to get sidetracked. But okay. I need to get these things done, and it helps. Like, okay, well, where was I at? Oh, well, I was making these calls, or I was doing this task. I was trying to get this script together for a video, or a social media post, or whatever. It helps. It helps to stay centered on these are the things that I need to be doing instead of just so scatterbrained and here.
Yeah, I think you can get busy with the business and think you're busy, but it's not the productive busy, right? And I think that you hit it right on the point. There are going to be things that distract you, especially if you're an LO working out of a home office. And then being able to go back and center yourself. And if you don't get it done, then you're going to commit and not negotiate with yourself. You're going to go ahead and do it on Saturday or whenever you have to get it done because ultimately, and I think this is so key, is remembering what your why is. Why do you do it? And your 4 kids and your wife, I'm sure, are a big part of that why in your life when you don't want to make the call or do the social media post or whatever, right?
Oh yeah, and there was a coaching or training sometime, I don't know, sometime somewhere I heard it. Is put your why on your phone. So like I've got I mean, it's my family picture from this past Christmas, and so every time I pull up open my phone, it's like there's my like this is why I do this. This is why I make the phone call so that they've got the life that we need.
Right. Yeah, I love that, to provide for your family, and that for me on my hardest days in this business, going back to my why, and as my kids have gotten older, it's sure evolved, but I do think that going back to that centers me, it grounds me, it humbles me and gets me back to what my priority is of the day or what I need to do in order to win my day for my why. And because this business is it's unrelenting in a way. It's one of the best industries in the whole country to be in, I think, and it's a blessing because the harder you work, Jonathan, the more money you make, the more you get all of the benefits of that. But I do think some days are hard, and I do think staying focused on your why you do this is super key to any bad day you have in this job.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. And so one of the things lately that I've been thinking about, like the family is a probably the best why, right? You've got the people that you love, you want to take care of, make sure they're provided for. But then as loan officers, as people who are helping others buy a house or move up, or like we're heavily involved in their why, right? Like why are they buying a house? Well, that we get to take part in that. And it's so to I've been thinking more and more lately about like my why is why I am making phone calls and stuff, but why specifically am I a loan officer? So I can help
Yeah.
others do their things. And that makes me want to be a better loan officer. It makes me want to tell people more about this is what I do and I do it well. And I'm here to walk alongside your clients, not just be a loan number on a page, you
Yeah.
know?
And not
So
a
like I think,
transaction, you're
yeah.
changing
So
a life or changing a family's life.
yeah, so the why ends up being twofold, more than just, yeah, why do I have a job? Well, yeah, because I need to eat and have a roof over my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do I do this job? Because I get to do that and help other people. And that's the more I've meditated on that idea has been really great and motivating to do more than what I'm already doing.
Well, and then, so the nice part is you are a positive light and one of those people that brings joy to the group. And we've really built a community here at PMR. I call it the Boost community, right? We have these boosters, the Origination Boost crew, and they have a Boost lounge. They chat in and support each other. And I think that's super cool. I just for you and again working from home, not necessarily in an office, how important has that been to you and your business and staying grounded and centered with what you're trying to accomplish?
I mean, it's been huge because I mean, I have a way of thinking about things and how to do things. I tend to, shockingly enough, I tend to be pretty introverted. So, hearing about what other people are doing when they're going out to open houses or how they're engaging agents is really great because it helps give me ideas for stopping by real estate agent offices and those kinds of things. But then the encouragement that comes through that, I mean, I've talked to multiple other boosters, right, who do really well at different things. Like, how did you get so good at that? Help me be awesome at what you're doing. What like the I start like the phone calls is some of the hardest things. And there's a couple on there who are really, really good at making those phone calls and not cold calling per se, but like just building relationships over the
Yeah.
phone. They're
Yeah.
really great at it. And like I want to be great at that. Help like teach me your ways. And like that's one of the things that I mean love about our Boost Lounge, but then also I mean the company in general is that like I could pick up the phone and call anybody and pick their brain about any of it. And I know
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a solid answer and not just brushed off because I don't close that much compared to, I mean, even your team. Like it's like maybe someday I want to,
You, it,
but
it can happen, friend. It can happen.
yeah,
You are on that trajectory to do great things, and that's why I really wanted you to be a guest on the podcast because you speak from a place of heart, you speak from a place of truth, and you speak to those that are on the journey. They're on the journey to top producer. They're on that path to beat their numbers that they did last year. I mean, I think year over year you did, I can't remember. It was it like a 300% increase, or I can't remember that it was
yeah,
an astronomical number of increase in production for you year over year. And I really think it's because you committed and you did the daily grind. It's not sexy. This business cannot, nothing we do is really sexy, and there's no silver bullet. I think that everybody does it a little bit different, but it really comes down just to having human connection, right?
yeah,
Would you agree with that? The last 2 years, you probably talked to more people as an introvert
yeah,
than you've ever talked to people in your whole life.
yeah. Yeah, because I you know last year I really got heavy onto to networking and joined a couple of networking groups in my area, which has immensely helped my ability to have conversations and make small talk because I mean even now I'm like I'm so bad. I'm so bad with small talk. But it gets easier. It's a muscle that you work and you learn
Yeah.
and networking is an absolute skill. Um, but even then, I mean the growth when I was an LOA and even hearing my dad, like it's a relationship business. I'm like, okay, but like what really is getting the business? No, it legitimately is building relationships. It's being familiar with people, it's being kind and just showing that you really care. And some like you won't jive with everybody, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You jive with the people that you jive with and you move forward. And I mean, over time that stuff grows.
Well, I have always thought if you're an amazing human and you just happen to be really good at home loans, you'll produce a lot of loans. It's not a hard concept in a way, but I think being an amazing human and what you said is you've been a student of others. And I think you can only become a better human if you're okay to be a student and learn from others. And it's been fun because being in this business 30 years, I've always felt like I could share all my information with other LOs and we would all do it a little bit different. We would all have attraction to different realtors or different borrowers. I mean, not everybody is going to click. Somebody that clicks with you might not click with me or vice versa. And I think that that's the beautiful part about humanity is you have to find the people that speak your same language, that have your same vibe. And that's how you have long-term partnerships. If you're not equally yoked as far as your goals in the business with a real estate partner or equal, like-minded, it's never going to be a long-term fit. You might get some business in sporadically, but the agents that you're working with now, how's that been to build those relationships to kind of be equally yoked, right? You have to make so many calls to meet so many agents, but now
Yeah.
you're starting to get more consistent referral partners, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a couple that have been really helpful. I mean, I'm working on the fourth deal in 6 or 7 months with an agent, and it's been really great. And like I know what her family's up to. She kind of knows what we're up to, and back and forth. And it's like there's a couple agents that are like that, and it's been really, really great. And we're not even what I love about this business is I can say that I'm licensed in Florida. I will do a loan anywhere in Florida. Most of my business, while I would very much like it to be local, most of my business is not within a quick drive of me. And some of my closest partners, we were met over social media and then just building the phone calls, doing a couple of deals together. And like, man, I really like working with Jonathan. And that makes, I mean, obviously makes me feel good, but they're great agents too. So like, I mean, there's a couple that like they just had babies like a month and a half ago, and like, man, I'm so
Oh,
excited. I'm so excited for you. Like, oh, how's it going? And it's just another level to be like. It's not weird. I don't know. There's just some of those things like we can chit chat and stuff, and it's not weird, and like we know what's going on in each other's lives, and it's awesome. Like it's one of those things. Prior to getting into this business, would not have thought I would have liked connecting with people as much as I have with some of these agent partners that I have. I'm like, man, this is really great. Or even the networking. Like
yeah.
I've met people and like me, like I just like hanging out with you guys. Like I enjoy going to these networking events and stuff now. It's not weird. And it's because it's grown into that. And it's been really awesome.
Well, a couple of things you touched on. One is even 30 years of this business, I will have, if I have to go to a networking event, I kind of have to work myself up for it. I kind of have to, I'm like you. I would rather be binge watching my favorite series and wearing my UGG slippers and my sweats on my couch. But that's not where my business has thrived. My business has thrived when I get to talk and see people. So I just tell people, just put more deodorant on, friends. It's going to be hard. It's going to be uncomfortable. It'll get easier. And I always find that I go and I'm like, oh, that was fun. And I leave feeling
Yep.
charged and excited. But I don't always want to go. And I think that some people look at maybe my career and go, Mandy must just, it's fine. She just loves to do those things.
I mean, that's
Nope.
what I thought.
Yeah, no, you're right. Nope, I don't. I still have to get worked up for it. And I think that I just share that message of truth because I think some people look at me and go like, Mandy, probably, yeah, this is easy for her. Nope. Sometimes you still have to convince yourself, no matter how long you've been in this business, that you still need to do and take those steps and the reps, like you said. And I think that's so critical. And the other thing I love that you talked about is COVID kind of gave us this gift that you don't have to be in the same town as your partners, as your
Yeah.
real estate partners, right? And customers aren't necessarily coming to a location anymore, which is a good bad. I think most loan officers could argue that's a good bad because they like that interpersonal connection when people come in an office. But I do think that it gives opportunities, to your point, to work with people that maybe you would have never worked with because you would have been doing pop buys to real estate offices just in your driving distance. And now you've got these relationships that are all over the state of Florida, which is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. And it's been awesome doing that. So like even like when I drove up to Biloxi and it was like, oh, I know an agent in this town, in this town, in this town, and like that was it was fun. Like I texted a couple like, hey, I'm where you're at, and like, oh, you should stop by. I'm like, no, I can't, but it was someday. It's just
Yeah.
really cool.
Well, I think that you've done a great job in your business and building momentum. And as we close out, what are you most excited about for the business? What are you most excited about for the coming years in your future in this business?
I mean, over the last couple of months, like I've come to like, all right, like this is what I want to do. I want to meet this number. At some point I want to be a branch manager. Like there's things
Yeah.
like there's goals I want in place. I want to be able to put my money where my mouth is. I want to train like new loan officers. And so it's like what do I need to get there? So now like in the last couple of weeks, like working with Corey Cantrell about things like, okay, what do I need to do? How can we get there? And like just getting the assistance in that way has been like it's just okay, all these things are kind of coming together and like, all right, well, what do I really need to do to ramp up? Because I'm ready to scale the business.
Yeah, I love that. I love it so much. And you have the knowledge of the loan side of it. And now the last couple of years, you've learned the marketing side of it, which you've learned is
Yep.
absolutely critical to success of loan officers. I'm excited for you. And I'm excited Corey's down there in your neck of the woods helping grow your business and helping you reach your next goals. And I love that you're like, well, everything's starting to click. So now I'm ready to add to my plate and add to my goals. That just keeps you growing as a person. And so I applaud you for that. And I am grateful that you agreed to be on Origination Boost podcast, because I think that what you have to share is so valuable to loan officers that might be struggling. And it just gives a message of hope that if they do the things that, eat the frog, like you said, and do those things, even if they don't want to, that they can win in any market. And would
Yep.
you say that that is?
Absolutely. Like, so with my dad growing up, we talk all the time about business. And he's like, Jonathan, you're closing loans right now in a market that's really, really hard for most people. Like, that's absolutely something to be proud of. And it's not
Yes.
because I just have a license, right? It's not
Yeah.
COVID where like homes were
Trip out
flying
your
off the
front door
shelf
and
and
see a home loan.
yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't just like so I mean it takes work and dedication and doing the things and yeah, you can succeed in any market. I mean, you hear stories all the time right now of people having their best months ever in hard time, like what would be considered hard markets and high interest rates. So,
Yep. Yep. You can
yeah.
do it. Just, it's all about done's better than perfect. Get started, cut your eraser off, and do the things that aren't sexy, and you will win, and you will win business. And so thank you, Jonathan, for being on today. I am so grateful for you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.